What's up, everybody? Bret Green's about to be joining me, and we're going to get this show on the road. Okay. You should be hopping on any second. Hope everybody's doing well. Unfortunately, I can't see the comments the way this is. You know what I could do? I can look at my phone. Hang on one second. Make sure it's streaming. I hope everyone's doing great. And I hope this is actually streaming right now. So let's see. Yes, it is. Perfect. I'm going to delete this one. We're going to get this. We're going to figure this out. I promise. Where you at, Bret? Okay. Oh, you need the number? It's the same one. Password. Okay. What's up, everybody? So Bret's hopping on right now. So Bret, so here's the backstory. So if you're catching us a little late, and I'm sorry for all the confusion, but Bret reached out and he was going to interview me, and I was going to join his Facebook Live.
Rockstar. Hey man, what's up? I just found out that you can't screen it through your desktop.
Oh, okay.
That's what it is. You can't do that. Why would you not be able to do that?
I don't know.
Now we'll do this, and then I'll have to share it onto my Facebook page, right?
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, that's all you got to do. I'll tag you in it, and it'll allow you to add it to your timeline, and it'll be there. So,
all right. So, all right,
we're good to go, brother.
Well, it's going to be on your Facebook page, right?
Originally, yes, but we'll share it on yours as well.
No, but I mean, like right now, is it live or is it recorded?
It's live on mine. No, it's live right now on mine.
It's live right now. Okay.
And I can share it.
You got to go to Justin's Facebook page, babe. Right?
Yeah, we're like.
I got some good questions for you, brother. You know, you figure, man.
I'm ready, bro.
You figured this thing out beforehand, right?
Hey, that's all right. It just shows, it's real. We're real people doing real things. Life's not always perfect. Sometimes you have to improvise and adapt. So it's all good.
All right, let's see.
But we're live now. We're live right this second. I just shared it. Oh yeah.
All right. All right. He says, just start, man.
You got a good coach.
Yeah, I do have a good coach. Awesome. Okay. Well, look, man. Schedule this interview. So Winning Warriors, a interview series where I like to interview individuals that are winning. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to change the gallery so I have it like that. Right. That way it's just you and me, brother. Got the weapon in the background. You're fired up. So for those of you that don't know me, if you're going to be watching this later or through the replay, my name is Bret Green. My wife, Cindy, and we live here in San Antonio, Texas. I practice law for a living. I have my own practice. I'm of counsel with another firm, Black & Skaggs out of Tyler, Texas. And I'm also in the network marketing profession. I've been in that space for over 8 years, and it has been an enormous blessing. And one thing that I have learned over the years is you got to surround yourself with winners. You got to surround yourself with the right kind of people that are doing the kind of things that you want to do, but doing them at a different level. That's how you grow. That's how you become better. And that's why I have this young man on the interviews table today, Justin Weeks. So I'm not going to steal Justin's thunder, but I can tell you this: Justin is just an awesome individual. I've known Justin, I'm thinking for now, probably over 8-9 years. Has it been that long, Justin?
Yeah, I think it has. That's crazy.
Man, we're looking better each and every year. That's all I
agree. It's the collagen. It's the collagen.
So you are a family man. You are a businessman, an entrepreneur, an author. Okay. You're a man of God. You're a combat veteran. You're just all that and so much more. And I've learned so much from you over the years because of all the different areas in your life that you have excelled in. So without taking your thunder away, just tell the people real quick, just a quick summary of who you are and in your background real quick. And then we're going to knock out some questions that I'm hoping we can add some value to those people out there that are watching today.
That sounds great, man. First of all, thank you for having me. Thanks for asking me to do this. It's an honor. You know, I look up to you, and I think you're an incredible human being. You and your wife, Cindy, are two of my favorite people. So it's you know, it's awesome doing life with you guys and doing business with you guys. But yeah, so Justin, my wife Aaliyah, and we live in Southwest Louisiana in a small town called Carlos, right outside of Lake Charles. Blended family. We have five little ones between the two of us, ranging from six to 16. My oldest will be 17 here in a few months, and it's crazy to think that, because about 11 years ago, I was 30 years old. Golly, I just told my age, but I was 30 years old. I was working for the Louisiana State Police. I was in law enforcement for about 11 years, but I was working for the state police. I was working 12-hour shifts. I was always gone, never saw my kids. I ended up being a SWAT operator there at the state police. So I was either training, getting called out, working shift work. I also taught the defensive tactics for the state police. So I had to go to Baton Rouge to teach that. Long story short, I was never home. And a buddy of mine who I served with in Iraq reached out to me in the summer of 2012. So this was in July of 2012, introduced me to this profession. And man, I got excited about the ability to have, you know, create an income stream, an extra income stream with tremendous earning potential, much greater than I could ever earn, you know, with a regular job, but also the ability to create time flexibility. And for me, that was probably the biggest factor that attracted me most to the opportunity, because I had a son. My son Jax has autism. He has high functioning autism. And it was such a cool idea to be able to provide more for my family, but also to be a present father. That was extremely attractive, the concept. And of course, I didn't know anybody that had time and money. I knew people that made a lot of money, but none of them had any time. And I knew people that had a lot of time, but they were all broke. So when I was introduced to this profession, I started meeting leaders who had both time and money. And once I knew that that was a possibility, it was all I wanted ever since. So saw the opportunity, got fired up, couldn't even sleep that night. You know, went full force at you know, into this profession. In our previous company, I was able to walk away from my job in June of 2014, actually on my oldest daughter's 8th birthday. So June 5th, 2014, Kaylin was turning 8. I resigned, walked away from the state police, and I haven't had a job now in about 9 years. She'll be like I said, she'll be 17 in June. So it's been a tremendous blessing to, you know, have lived a fully autonomous lifestyle for about a decade, and to you know, experience what we have in this profession. You know, leadership, you know, business building principles, but when you build a voluntary army, you pick up so many things about life and people, and understanding, you know, who people, what drives people, you know, what motivates people. And I tell you what, you know, I've made my fair share of mistakes throughout the last decade. I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot. I'm a different human being than I was 6 months ago, much less 3 years ago. And you know, but to wrap up my story, about almost 3 years ago, in August of 2020, I made the decision to transition companies and came to where we are today. And I tell you what, it's been a breath of fresh air. You know, the systems that we have in place, the efficiency has really given me my time back. And it's been everything I hoped it would be, and a lot more. And I feel very, very blessed to be positioned to where we are today. So I'll let you get into your questions, man. I don't want to go too long on my story. So,
well, man, I tell you what, you've got a lot of different successes, and we're going to kind of go through that. I'm going to touch on each one of those as we move through this. But right now, I want to focus on this, just kind of shift gears a little bit. So, you're obviously a combat veteran. I want to thank you for your service. Okay. And I've heard different stories throughout the years of our relationship, but I want you to tell the people just a little background of the time you spent in the Army, and some of the things that you encountered, but more specifically, and I know you and I both can get on a Taylor, we can ramble, we can go all day on this stuff, but I want you to think about the adversities that you faced and the fears that you faced while you were serving, and how you have taken that and what you have learned from that and incorporated it into your life right now to help you become the person you are today and become as successful as you are today.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's awesome. And you know, So I spent several years in the military, but also spent 11 years in law enforcement. And both, I went through adversity in both of those endeavors. As far as Iraq, so I was in Baghdad, Iraq from September of '04 to September of '05. We lost 35 guys in our unit that year. I was an infantry sergeant. I was actually my company commander's Humvee gunner. And then I also drove. So me and the driver, we'd swap out, my buddy Mike. And so got a lot of time behind the gun. I got a lot of time behind the wheel, and, experienced a lot, I think everyone, so one of the awards we receive, I guess it's called an award, but is the combat infantry badge. So when you experience combat, or when you're in combat, you receive a combat infantry badge. I actually have it on the front license plate of my truck. It's actually in that shadow box right there, but it's mounted on the wall. I can't really pull it out. But long story short, everybody in my entire unit had their we call it a CIB. Everyone had their CIB within 2 weeks of us being in Baghdad. So it was, at the time, things were happening. Like I said, we lost 35 guys. But one of the biggest things I took away, and I was young, I was 22 years old when I was in Iraq. In fact, I turned 23, which is my golden birthday, because my birthday is November 23rd, in Iraq. And one of the things I talked about this a little bit on our call last night, but what I realized is when you put a bunch of people together and on a mission, there's a magical sense of bravery that comes out. And like when we were in these firefights, when we were out, outside the wires, what we called it, and we were locked and loaded and in the mix, I wasn't afraid. I wasn't afraid because I was with my crew. I was with, my people. And for whatever reason, the fear didn't hit me. And at times, when I'm going to bed at night and stuff, I think about the what ifs, and we got in some pretty good firefights and things that happened. And it was an experience, to say the least. And I have a lot of friends who do struggle with that experience still to this day. So PTSD is a real thing. I've suffered from parts of it, sleep deprivation. I think back sometimes about certain things, but one of the biggest things I've been able to do is compartmentalize my thoughts. And being that I had some law enforcement experience, being that I had some life experience, prior to that tour, I was able to, I handled it okay. And for whatever reason, it hasn't been as rough on me mentally as it has with some of my friends who I've served with. And I'm grateful for that. And I thank God for that, because, that kind of thing, it can affect someone in their entire life. So ultimately, if I've learned anything from that experience, it would be that you're stronger when you're around other people who are on the same mission that you are. And, we need each other. We need each other because we give each other power. And I love working with a team for that, purpose. I love being around other people who are like-minded on the same mission that I'm on. I love to serve. It's always been the intrinsic motivator for me. I love to make a difference, a positive difference. When I come back and when I came back from the war and people are like, thank you for your service, it felt good. It felt good to be appreciated for making a sacrifice and putting your life on the line, saying, hey, look, I'm willing to fight for what I believe in, for the country, for my people, because there's a lot of people who can't fight. And I've always been that guy who's willing to fight for those who can't. I was in law enforcement for 11 years. I got into boxing when I was in 7th grade. I got bullied growing up. I was a skinny kid. I got bullied. And you know what? It wasn't even me being bullied that I hated as much as people around me being bullied, like some of my friends. Because I was kind of a different guy. I hung around with, I wasn't like one of the cool kids in the cliques and the job, like
because you look real cool right now. I mean, you look cool.
No,
you're good looking. You got everything.
I was a loner,
for
man.
you,
I was a
so
loner.
it might be hard for people to believe.
No, I was a loner, man. I was, had my own little circle, my own little tight circle. And if somebody messed with me, it wasn't that big of a deal. But if somebody messed with like one of my friends or like one of my brothers or like somebody in my family, I didn't like it at all. And so me being a weak little kid, I felt helpless and I wanted to protect people. Like I wanted to stick up for people because I didn't like to see people get bullied. And I didn't like getting bullied myself. It didn't feel good. So I started boxing in 7th grade. I boxed till I was a freshman in college. Started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in 2003. So I've been doing that about 20 years off and on. Mixed martial arts, same thing. At
Hey,
least,
but before you get into all that mixed martial arts, because I actually have a question on that.
Oh,
I
okay.
wanted to touch base real quick on something you said when you were overseas, and you mentioned that the fear that you didn't really experience because you were surrounded by a team, and then you kind of went into talking about the importance of the team. So for the people that are
Yeah.
out there watching and listening, is it fair to say, Justin, that you think it's important for people to seek out to be part of something bigger, to be part of a team that actually helps a person grow, and that actually maybe people deep down inside are actually craving something like that? Is that something that you would probably agree to?
I do agree to that. It feels good to be part of something that's bigger than yourself. It feels good to be part of a crusade, a mission, a purpose. And knowing that you're not alone is a good feeling, especially when you're experiencing adversity, when you're out there in the world and you're experiencing things. That's why it's good to have a relationship, a spouse. You're going through life with someone, and it's just good to have people that have your back. And it's good to know that you have other people's back. And it's really good to know that other people count on you to have their back. And that's important to me. I want to be the person who, when someone is on my team or in my platoon or in, whatever it is, to say, hey, when the shit hits the fan, excuse my French, I know this guy's going to be there with me. He's not going to cower out and run and be afraid. And I'm not saying I was never afraid in Iraq. Please don't. And I don't know if was the right thing to say, because I felt fear, but I was comfortable in that fear, knowing that it was something. If I would have just been there by myself, it would have been a lot scarier than being with the group that I was with. So being a part of a pack, being part of a tribe, being part of a group, I think is something that people need, and they may not even realize they need it. Because when you're around people who lift you up and encourage you, and you get in an atmosphere that's conducive to growth, and you have people who stretch you and cause you to want to be better, and people, get around people who are playing the game at a higher level than you are, they bring you up and they make you make you strive to be more. And so I think all of us need it. And I think that if we believe that we don't need other people around us, that we're fooling ourselves. And it's made a big difference in my life, being around people like yourself and so many leaders in our last company, that changed my life, getting to know those people and learning about personal development. Leaders who I'm surrounded with today, who just, it blows my mind to know what these people have accomplished and the level that they're able to serve at, and the territory that they've been able to expand and create and make a difference and impact. It's very inspiring.
Yeah, Justin, you make a really good point. Being part of a team, being part of a great culture, it's such a difference maker. And once you're involved with something like that, once you're around a group of individuals that are encouraging you and not discouraging you, that are lifting you up and helping with your dreams and your goals, once you're around that, you never want to get away from it. Right. But sometimes getting into that situation is so foreign to people that they really don't understand the growth involved with that. And so talking about the growth about that and your desire to help other people, you actually wrote a book and you co-authored it with Peter Voog. Isn't that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
What was the name of that book?
So the book is Achieving Autonomy. It's actually a planner. It's a journal.
Okay. So what is that, real quick? And what inspired you to write that with Peter?
More or less, I wanted to create something that, it was really just the brand Achieving Autonomy. I was just obsessed with freedom and autonomy.
What is that,
really,
Justin?
Autonomy, living an autonomous life means, or at least my definition of autonomy is being able to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, for however long you want to do it for. You don't have to ask anyone's permission to do it. It's just, it's your life, and that freedom is what I've always strived for. So haven't really marketed that book in a long time, and I'm actually moving on to newer projects in the future. But it was a planner. It had a couple chapters of content on the front end. It was pretty cool. It was a fun project for the time. I think it's a little outdated today. It's nothing I really promote anymore. But it went Amazon bestseller. It was #1 in 4 categories. It was #4 in Europe. It did well. And Peter's a stud. He's making things happen. So it was cool to partner with him on a project like that. And it was cool. So,
yeah, you know, the main thing about that, Justin, is the fact that you actually did it, right? I mean, I'm
yeah,
in the process of writing a book myself, right? And I've had these deadlines and I keep moving them back. And so one of the things that separates individuals is actually getting it done. So when I was doing this and prepping for this interview, I started thinking about that. There's another thing that you would accomplish that I'm trying to accomplish myself. So knowing that you actually got it done and got it published is an inspiration. I know there's a lot of people out there right now that are going to watch this either now or the replay that are also wanting to write a book and wanting to do something. And if it changes one person's life, then it definitely is something to do. So moving on, you kind of touched on it, Justin,
okay,
all the different things that you're involved with, right? And I know
yeah.
the current company that we're with is about health and fitness. And outside of specifically talking about what all you do, tell the people, I mean, you're in good shape. Okay. Now, you know, a couple of videos I've seen you with your shirt up and you got your six pack and stuff like that. My wife gets all, oh, look at that. Right. Okay. I understand. Outside of that, why is health and fitness so important to being successful in today's world? I mean, why are there so many people out there, do you think, that just don't really prioritize it and let their physical fitness get out of hand? Why do you think that is? And why do you think it's so important to reverse that?
I think a lot of times it's just out of laziness, honestly, because, you know, if you see someone with a six pack, you know, the reason people value it is because it's difficult to have, and scarcity is linked to value. And when things are difficult, it makes them more valuable. And your health, in a sense, is the most important thing, because without it, you have nothing. You can't even spend time with your family if you're not healthy. You can't build a business if you're not healthy. And we have one body, and it's got to last us our entire life. And a strong body is your mind and your body are connected. Your you know, physical health is going to affect every aspect of your entire life. If you don't feel good, and it's hard to, if you can't even move around and walk upstairs without being out of breath, or you're just not in good physical health, your mind's going to be weak. Your performance in whatever human endeavor whatever journey you're on is going to be weaker than if you were strong, if you were in good health. And you know, just drinking water and cleansing your organs every day and doing some exercise, getting that blood flowing, and like you said, the products that we promote with our company they're chemical and toxin free. They're good products that help people and live a healthier life. And to get behind something like that, and to see the results that people get, you're doing something, you can get behind it with integrity. You're sharing something that's good, that can benefit someone's life in a positive way. And when you're building a business around that, it feels good. And then when you're living a healthier life, and you're promoting health and wellness to other people, you're making a positive difference. If you help one person who takes products, which the products are going to help them, their supplements are going to help them, but then it inspires them to eat a little cleaner, to exercise a little more, because they're on this health journey. They may live a little longer. That's and right. You may directly have impacted that person to live longer, to have more time with their family, to maybe avoid some type of health risk that they may have had. And who knows if they would or wouldn't have, but it's never going to hurt someone to live a healthier life. It's only going to help people. So I'm passionate about that, because I've seen people in poor health, and you can have all the money in the world, and then you're in poor health. What's it matter?
But Justin, let me ask you this. I mean, okay, so does it always come easy for you? I mean, do you always want to eat healthy? Do you always want to go exercise? Do you always want to go to the gym? I mean, is this something that you believe you need to prioritize? I mean, what's the difference between somebody that's going and knocking it out and consistently staying in shape and someone that's not? And what could you offer to someone who might be on that fence, is saying, I really need to get my body back in shape. I really need to get my health and fitness under control, but I don't know the steps to take. I mean, is it something that they should work on prioritizing, or any advice you could give them before we move on to the next topic on this thing?
Yeah, I would just say it comes down to your standards. How your self-image. Who do you see yourself as? Do you see yourself as a fat sloth and laziness? And Or do you see yourself as someone who's healthy and in shape? And whatever picture you have here, and if you're not congruent to that, it's gonna bother you. You're not gonna be comfortable sitting on your couch eating Cheetos, watching Netflix. You're gonna say, hey, I might need to get up and do something. If I want to live longer, if I want to spend more time with my kids, or if I don't want to be out of breath, walk into the refrigerator to get another beer, so whatever it is, you can't live like that. So something has to click in their own mind and say, hey, I'm done with this. I want to live a healthier life. I want to live longer. I want to be happier. I want to have higher standards. And when you have those standards, you're going to have discipline surrounding those standards. So it's not about being motivated. It's not about, being inspired. It's about saying, hey, this is who I am. These are the standards I've set for myself, and I'm not going to fall below those standards. Or if I do fall below those standards, which we all have, I'm going to commit to working harder to get myself back where I know I'm supposed to be. And I've done that. I've had to do that.
That is just perfect on spot about moving in, transitioning to this next topic, because although I asked you, what can a person do, and kind of maybe alluded to a physical step that they could take, you immediately took that and said, well, before you took that physical step, you need to take the mental step. You need to visualize your standards. And that moves me into the next topic, which is personal growth, right? And I know that personal growth is huge to you. As a matter of fact, there was a transition probably that you encountered, I don't know exactly when, but it was maybe 2016 or 2017. I saw you speak on a stage, and you were all about personal growth. And you could tell that it had made an enormous difference in your life, about the materials that you read, what you watch, what you're putting into your mind. So tell the viewers real quick, how important do you think personal growth really is to individuals? Because look, even though you and I talk about personal growth as something that we should always do, most people out there, they're clueless to the actual benefits of personal development, personal growth. So real quick, what does it mean to you? How important is personal development and personal growth to you as an individual and being successful in life?
Man, great question. And it's everything. I really became obsessed with it when I joined, T National and met some of these leaders in that business. And they were telling me, how impactful personal development was to their life and how it changed their life. And they started, mentioning these authors like Earl Nightingale and Jim Rohn and people I've never heard about, and I started falling asleep to these old men's voices every night and started listening to these audios and just started taking this in. And it just was so enlightening, and it made so much sense that it completely altered the course of my life in a sense where I was just inputting negative stuff, and my mind was filled with just negatives. And I realized that, our thoughts lead to everything. I mean, like the Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And so I was my thoughts. I was who, prior to learning about personal development, I wasn't near the person I was after I started growing myself. Jim Rohn says, work harder on yourself than you do on your job, because working on your job will make you a living, but working on yourself will make you a fortune. And the reason he says that is because he goes on to say that success is not something that we pursue. It's something that we attract by who we are. And now we're always going to be paid in direct proportion to the value that we're adding to the marketplace. So if we want more in life, we have to become more. And it's all about what we think. Earl Nightingale's The Strangest Secret. It says, the strangest secret is you become what you think about most of the time. The Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And if you are what you think about, then we have to be thinking about what we're thinking about all the time. So we have to stand guard at the door of our mind. We have to be careful, because we're all empty vessels. We're all susceptible to programming. We're being influenced every day, whether we want to admit it or not. And some are more easily influenced than others. But what we read, what we listen to, what we watch, who we associate with, just being in proximity around other leaders, like I said earlier, who are playing the game at a higher level, who have high levels of success, you're going to be inputting and programming your mind. That programming is going to lead to how you think. How you think is going to lead to how you feel, your emotions, which is going to lead to how you act, which will then determine your results. And those results will then reinforce that programming and your thoughts. So what we think about is everything. So take an inventory of that and making sure that we're putting good things into our mind every single day is going to ultimately determine our entire life, you know? And so knowing that, I started, I became ultimately obsessed with personal development, and it's an ongoing journey, you know. You know, I don't think it ever ends, that journey, because you can always grow, you can always become better. And my goal is to become stronger today than I was yesterday. I don't compare myself to other people, because you know, it's easy to get discouraged and easily to get egotistical if you start comparing yourself to other people. But none of those people are you. Well, all of us are our unique self, and this is one unique experience that we have as ourselves on this earth. One time, it's not a dress rehearsal, it's one lap around the track and then it's game over. But if you can work on being stronger every single day than you were yesterday, whether that's stronger physically, whether, you know, doing some push-ups, taking a little walk around the block, whether it's stronger spiritually, intellectually, emotionally, I mean, you can get better in every aspect of your life. But if you're not working on yourself and getting better, nothing in your life is going to change. Jim Rohn says the same wind blows on us all, but it's the set of our sail that makes the difference. And being able to set a better sail, to be able to put better things in our mind, is going to make us feel differently, to where we act differently and we get better results than we would have had we not. You know, and we're going to attract better people into our life and better opportunities, because they're going to want to work with someone who's valuable. The person who adds the most value in a relationship has the most leverage. And if you're having a business relationship and you're a valuable person and you add value to that, you're going to attract people who want to work with you, who want to be in business with you. And the opposite is true. If you're not a person of value, if you're not a voice of value, if you're not someone who makes a positive difference in this world, you're going to repel people from you. If you're pessimistic, negative, skeptical, you know, who's going to want to work with you? No one. So you're going to miss opportunity. You're going to miss, you know, chances to progress in life, because you're not who you could be. And all of us could be really, you know, special if we just worked on ourselves.
You know, so that whole thing that you just said is just a mic drop. It's so true about the personal growth and development. And the great thing about the world we live in today, it's all at our fingertips, and most of it's all free, right? Back in the day, you didn't have the access that we have now. Now you can tap in to the Earl Nightingales, the Bob Proctors, the Jim Rohns, and really open up, I mean, and just understand really the concept about what we're feeding into our minds and how powerful it can be. And that leads me into this next topic. And that goes in to what you're saying about becoming a better person and setting the right example and going out there and changing lives. And that goes to talk about leadership. Okay. Mm-hmm. What do you think about leadership? Does everything really rise and fall on leadership? Do you believe that to be true? What's your philosophy about leadership?
I do. And that's a great quote. John Maxwell is an incredible leadership author. And, you know, leadership is everything. And here's why I say that. It's because, I mean, look at the difference. Well, I'm not going to get into politics, but look at, you know, the effect. Look at the effect a leader has, you know, on everything in life. So to me, leadership is about others. It's making it about others. So if, like, a good sign of a good leader is you rarely hear them talk about themselves. If something good happens, it's because of the team. But if something bad happens, they take ownership for it. That's one of the biggest signs I've ever seen of a leader. When something bad happens, hey, it's on me. Hey, I could have done this better. It's on me. And taking ownership, not relinquishing control to external circumstances, and saying, hey, you know, that's a sign of a leader to me. And putting others first. You know, Simon Sinek has a book, Leaders Eat Last, or something like that. And it's just, when you see a good leader, like in the military, a great visual of this was in, I think it's We Were Soldiers. Mel Gibson is 1st Cavalry Division, and all the people are getting on the helicopter. He's the last one on the helicopter. And that's a leader. It's like making sure everybody's taken care of before yourself. And making sure that you're operating on the highest level, the highest frequency, that you are leading by example. I will never ask someone to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. and or have done myself. And going out and leading from the front, you can't push a rope. You got to lead from the front, and you got to pull and show people what's done. You walk through the minefield so when everyone else can follow through your footsteps. You take the risks. You go do the work. You go show them how to do it. And then along that process, you're going to experience adversity. You may get a leg blown off. You may have this happen, but guess what? When your team's one day going through these things, you can't say, well, let's go ask a leader how we fix it. No, you can say, hey, I've been through this. I've done this. This is what we can do. Here's how we can fix it. Here's how we can, cut your learning curve in half. Here's how we can, become better. When you climb the mountain first, and then you come back down and you're helping people back up the mountain, you're going to know the potholes. You're going to know the shortcuts. You're going to know where these things are, what happens here, and how to get past it. It's all part of the game. So being a leader is, number one, taking full responsibility for everything in your life. If your wife cheats on you, it's your fault. Why is she going to find somebody else? Why didn't she still want you? If this happens in your life, it's your fault. If that happens in your life, if I get rear-ended by somebody in some way, it's my fault. Like, in my mind, I can't blame anybody in my life for anything. I just can't do it anymore. And I just think that's part of being a leader. And when a leader can take extreme ownership, and when they can lay their life on the line for other people and be glad to do it, which there's few people out there that are like that, but I do know many. And it's because I try to surround myself with people that aren't cowards. They may not be able to fight, but they will fight. It's not about if they can, it's if they will. So like if I'm rolling with a crew, they're not cowards. I don't hang out with cowards. I won't do it. And it's just because I like to surround myself with leaders, and leaders, they're not afraid to do what's necessary for people around them to have the best opportunity for success. And I just get fired up.
Look, Justin, you're exactly right about the leadership component, about leading by example and making sure you're showing up. Before we move into our next topic, which I know we're really gonna like this next topic because we're both very passionate about it. But that leadership concept, I used to work at a firm, and the partner of the firm, of course, it's his firm. He can make the decisions that he wants to make, but he used to come in late, 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the afternoon, and then bark orders to everybody, right? Well, nobody respected that. I mean, even though it was his firm, he's not a leader. Okay, now I'm looking for a leader who's in the trenches, who's doing the deal, who's leading by example, that when you have the team that is dealing with the adversity, that's dealing with the struggles, that they're trying to reach their goals, they're trying to reach their dreams, that leader is the one out there leading the way. And you know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that individual is there for you in any circumstance. That is a leader. With leadership comes great responsibility. That's where all responsibility falls. People think being the leader is all about, the glory, but it requires more obligation, more commitment, and more responsibility than anything else, which leads me into this. Okay. Next topic. Okay. It's already 5:20, baby. See, I told you we're rolling, man. You're doing awesome. You're doing awesome. Okay. Let's change gears a little bit. Okay. So here's the thing. Network marketing. Okay. You've been in this space for over 10 years. I've been in this space for over 8 years, and we've seen a lot. Now, first company you were with was where we first met. You had reached a rank of what they call double platinum. And for those of you that have no idea what that is, I'll just tell you, I think there was maybe 36 people that ever reached double platinum in that company in almost 25 years of existence. Thousands of people, tens of thousands of people walked through the doors of that company and never reached the rank that Justin Weeks reached. He moved on to another company, the company that we're in right now, and he's reached another very, very high rank in the company that most people do not reach. He's already built an incredible team and is making an incredible income in this profession. So has not only done it once, he's done it twice, right? And which leads you to why Cindy and I followed you in, because we're looking for people that are doing what we want to do at a different level, right? So real quick, you touched on it a little bit in your story, but why network marketing. Now, you also are a realtor. You recently got your license in your opening that stream of income as well. But over the different things that you've dabbed and messed with, right? Why network marketing? Why is it something that people should look into? And why has it been so good for you?
Great question. So
now I got a couple follow-ups. So narrow it in, baby.
It comes down to having a leveraged income. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, if your income is exclusively linked to your time, you can only make so much money because you only have so much time. So Tyson King explained this so good about the cash flow quadrant. King. Yeah, so I'll touch on it. So Robert Kiyosaki has a cash flow quadrant. It's a great book. He's the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad. But basically, he says there's 4 quadrants in cash flow. On the left side of the quadrant, you have the E and S quadrants, which is for employees or small business owners or self-employed. Active income. Whether you work for someone or you own your own job, you still have to be there in order to get paid. It's active. So it's a linear income. You're trading your time for money, hours for dollars. That makes up about 95% of our country, yet they only control about 5% of the wealth in our country. Well, on the right side of the quadrant, Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant, he said there's the B and I quadrant. So you have your big business owners and you have your investors. And those people have leveraged income. So your big business owners are leveraging their time with other people's efforts. Your investors are leveraging their money. Their money's working for them. So you have a residual income and passive income. But at the end of the day, it's leveraged income. So that makes up about 5% of our country, yet they control about 95% of the wealth. So when you understand that concept, it's like you can't understand that and just sit on the left side of the quadrant and be comfortable, because you understand that if you get over here to the right side, you have the ability to be part of the 5% that control 95% of the wealth. And the reason that is because your income is not direct or exclusively linked to your time. Time is limited. We only have 168 hours in a week individually. But when you can leverage that and you can create an income stream that pays you when you're sleeping, or create a team of an organization where, and it's just to cover this common misconception, doesn't mean the guy at the top's making all the money. People inside of that organization can out earn people that are above them in that organization. But building something that can pay you, where your income is not exclusively linked to your time, was very attractive. And so network marketing gives you the ability to do that with a low barrier to entry. So it's very inexpensive to start. In fact, our company right now, I've bought lunch that costs more than what it costs to get started. You know what I mean? A nice dinner costs more than what it takes to get started. So, which that's why there's such a stigma in network marketing. And I'll just call a spade, because what's easy to do is easy not to do. When it's easy to get started and you run into people that maybe not entrepreneur minded, or maybe not, understand business and what it takes to build a business from nothing, and they're like, this is a little more difficult than I thought, and they may quit, or they run into a little adversity. I didn't get rich in 2 weeks. It must be a scam, or whatever. So, but I understood the big picture, and I saw people that were making it happen. And when I knew it was possible, I knew it was possible for me. And what I did was I found people who had the results that I wanted. I would only take their advice. I had people tell me, "Oh, that'll never work." People, those things never work. But I was not willing to accept their lifestyle, the people that were telling me that. So I wasn't willing to accept their opinion. What they said to me meant zilch, nada, nothing, because they did not have the results in life that I wanted. So what I did was I found mentors who did have the results that I wanted, and they happened to be in this space, and they happened to have the lifestyle that I was looking for. Followed those leaders, which led me into my personal development journey, and led me into this profession, and now has led us to the specific company that we're with now, and the mentors like John Melton and Justin Prince and so many others that, quite frankly, I don't know anybody that makes the amount of money these guys make and have the lifestyle that they have. And I know lots of people and lots of professions. And so that's why I love network marketing, because it gives the average person the ability to make an unaverage income if they're willing to commit, and they're willing to work hard, and they're willing to grow themselves and build their influence and build their credibility and make a difference in other people's lives. And then it gives you the opportunity to expand your territory and make and serve the many. And the Bible says service to many leads to greatness. So if you don't have an opportunity where you can serve many, it's not going to lead to greatness, you know? So that's why I love network marketing.
What an awesome, I mean, God, you know, you like, think about that. But you touched on it, right? If you're willing to work hard, if you're committed, if you're disciplined, if you're willing to learn and be coachable, it offers so many benefits. So knowing all of these great things, I mean, we've been in this space now over 8 years, and my life has never, ever been the same since I got into the profession. It's been such an enormous blessing for so many different reasons. Obviously, there's ups and downs as in any profession, but so much has been just provided to my family because of this. Why do you think, okay, over all these years, you and I have introduced this business and this profession to a lot of people. What do you think is the number one reason that keeps a person closed-minded from actually looking at this profession and realizing what it has to offer? Why is it sometimes so difficult to get people to see that?
It's just lack of belief. And honestly, and it's not their fault. They're programmed to think that way. And you know, I don't fault them for that. And so rather than trying to convince people who are just stuck in that mindset, and and sometimes I believe it's a shield for laziness because they know it's going to take effort. So they're like, well, it's just not real. I can't believe, you know, I don't know. But there's no way someone can look at someone's life. People that know me, they know I haven't had a job in a decade, but they're like, yeah, but you know, I don't worry about that kind of stuff. I don't sign up for that class, you know, if you will. What I do is I sift and sort. So Les Brown has a great quote. He says, "One convinced against their will is of the same opinion still." I actually have Les Brown's cell phone number in here. I've talked to him on the phone. So one convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. Meaning, if you have to talk somebody into this, if you have to convince them to be ambitious and open-minded, you're going to have to convince them. They're just not your guy. But there are people out there who were like me 11 years ago, praying next to their bed at night saying, God, look, hey, I don't need easy. I just need possible. Send me something. Send me a shot. Give me a shot. You know, I'll work my ass off if I just need the shot.
Okay, stop right there. Stop right there. Okay, because look, you just said something, right? You just need possible. Give me a shot. So knowing what we know in network marketing and knowing we're just being real here, that a lot of people get in and they give up on their goals and they give up on their dreams. What separates you, okay, from that person? What separates? Why is there this gap? What do you think the difference is between somebody like you and somebody who's not reaching their goals and dreams that's currently in network marketing? What do you do different than that individual? Is it a combination of things? I mean, outside of belief, I mean, are you working? When you say you haven't had a job in 10 years, well, you've had a profession. I know you, Justin. You work your tail off, okay?
No, and by job, I mean a boss.
Right. So
and by job, I just mean a boss. I haven't had a boss in 10 years.
Right.
So
what's the difference between you? Give somebody that's already in network marketing right now that might be watching this, that's not producing at the level they know they want to produce, they need to produce, and they want to. What can you advise them in order to get to that next level?
It's clarity of vision. Okay. And when you know and I know you said outside of belief, but the only difference between someone who doesn't join and someone who joins in network marketing is belief. The only difference between someone who builds it to the top and someone who quits is belief. And it's belief in themselves and belief that they can actually do it. And the unfortunate truth is that most people lack belief and they lack vision and they lack definite of purpose. They lack the ability to see an end result and work towards that result consistently until they have it. And what I did, and I don't know that I've done anything differently than anyone else. I just see these people who have done it before. And I'm like, if it's possible, it's possible for me. So what have these people done to get to where they're at? Most people see someone and they're like, oh, it must be nice. But they don't ask themselves, what did they do to get there? And then they don't ask themselves, well, would this person show me exactly what they did to get there? And what's so cool about network marketing, there's two things that I want to say real fast. What's so cool about network marketing is the mentors have a vested interest in your success. We only win by helping other people win. So you have these people making multiple 6 figures a month, 7 figures a year, you know, and multiple 7 figures a year. And they're like, hey, I'm willing to show you everything I've done. Not only am I willing to show you what I did, I'm willing to help you do it. I'm willing to guide you through this process. willing to mentor you along the way at no cost to you in most cases, right?
Yes.
So at no cost to you in most cases. There's some exceptions, but when you have a vested interest in someone's success, you know, you will you win by helping them win. So that's one cool thing. And another cool thing is, see, I have a big imagination. I'm a dreamer, dude. I'm a dreamer. And I can't even remember what I used to dream about before network marketing, because my dreams weren't even possible. They weren't possible. I knew exactly how much I was going to make as a state trooper, pretty much, you know, for the next 20 years. And it wasn't very exciting. It wasn't very exciting hitting my alarm clock at 5 a.m. to go to work and to take orders. It wasn't very exciting. But when I saw a way that I could open up my dreamer, and instead of bringing my dreams down to match my income, I was able to potentially bring my income up to match my dreams. And I don't believe God is a God who puts all these nice things on this earth to say, that's just for those people, Bret. That's not for you. No.
You better believe it, my man.
No, dude, that's for everybody who wants it can have it. We're God's highest form of creation. We're capable of anything and everything that we commit ourselves fully to, but we have to work towards it. And it's not overnight. You can't plant a garden and then eat from it the next day. You can't get pregnant on Friday and have a baby on Monday. That's just not how it works. But if you can have clarity of vision and hold that vision and work towards that vision, work on yourself consistently for however long it takes. I understood it may be a 2 to 4 year deal. You know, I happened to be able to quit my job in less than 2 years, but I was willing to go for 5, even 10 years. I wasn't stopping until it happened because the results were so important to me. My why was so strong. My son, I wanted to be present for him. So that desire, Napoleon Hill says, desire is the starting point of all achievement, because that desire was so strong, I wasn't going to stop. And when you have that mentality, I heard Debbie McDonald say it from stage, I will until. Justin Prince just said it in North Carolina. He says, how long? He said, how long? Until. So that's what my mind was made up, dude. I said, I will not stop until I get there. And having that level of commitment and having that clarity of vision, having that purpose to pull you through the adversity, because when your mind's already made up and you already know where you're going, and it's not a if I want to get there, it's no, I will get there. Nothing can stop you, because it doesn't matter, because you understand you have to get through it anyway, because the end result's too important for you to stop. So the reasons will always come before the results. That their level of desire is always going to matter, because people just don't want it bad enough. If they wanted it bad enough, they'd figure it out. The mom lifting the car off of her child that was trapped under the car, she didn't figure out she didn't get on her phone and say, let me see, how can I deadlift? What's the proper way to deadlift a car? No, it didn't matter, because the desire was so strong, she figured it out. And when your desire is strong enough in life for a specific result, you will figure it out. And that's all I did, man. I got in this thing and just figured it out and listened to the people who had the results that I wanted and didn't stop until I had it. And dude, I've had ups and downs. I've had many things throughout this entrepreneurial journey. It's not for the weak, or it's not for the, entrepreneurship is not, it's not easy.
It's not for the weak.
It's not, man. It's not. You got to be you have to have a high emotional quotient. You have to have a high level of emotional intelligence, and you have to be willing to take some hits, and you got to be willing to get rejected some when you're sifting and sorting for people, looking for the ones who are looking. Some people aren't. But like I said last night on our team call, rejection is protection. If they're saying no, be glad. You're dodging a bullet. You don't want those people. We want people who are like-minded, who are positive, ambitious, and have a heart for others. And that's my favorite thing about this profession, Bret. It's people like you and Cindy. It's people like the people that, in our team and in our business, and the leaders that we follow. There's a magical filter on it, and it attracts a certain quality of people. And when you surround yourself with those type of people, you're lifted up and you're encouraged to go after life with a smile and take it on, knowing that, hey, I'm going to live my best life. I'm going to work hard to impact people as best I can in a positive way, and do it with integrity and do it with ethics. And at the end of the day, there's nothing more rewarding and there's nothing more fulfilling than knowing that you made even the slightest difference, a positive difference in someone's life. You know the feeling when you and Cindy walked across stage I was there, dude. I was there when you were speaking to thousands of people on stage when you reached to the top of our last company. And that feeling, but you also know the feeling when someone on your team is walking across that stage, getting an award. And that's way better than getting any awards for yourself. And that's how you know you're a leader. It's because you want others to win. And like Zig Ziglar says, if you help enough other people get what they want, you'll have everything you want. So that's the mission. The mission is to help others and to serve and to make a difference. And impact will always come before the income. So focus on that and we'll be good.
Oh man, you were so spot on. I was actually talking to Dave earlier today at my office, who recently joined the organization. And I told Dave, I said, Dave, just like what you're saying, just I said, you think I'm looking for somebody to come out here and build this huge business and do all this stuff and make all of this money? That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for people that are motivated and committed, that want to make a difference in life, that have a passion to help other people. You bring enough of those people together and create a culture and a community of those type of people, the money will chase you down. The organization will build itself because we'll catch that spirit, we'll catch that passion, and that's how you change the world. Guys, we're coming up on an hour, so I got to be real quick. Look, I'm wearing your shirt today, buddy boy.
Yeah,
check
bro,
it
I
out,
love
man.
it.
Live
I love
free.
it.
Okay, hey, it's fitting
It's
better
all of
too.
our shirt. It's all of our shirt.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
fitting
mission.
better too. But look,
Oh, you
what
look
does
good.
this mean? Live free. You've been preaching this. I wore it for you today. I wear it all the time. Every time I go to the gym, I wear this shirt because it makes me look thinner than I actually am, right? So I take it to the gym. Okay?
It looks
But
great
tell
on you.
people real quick what Live Free is, and then I've got one final question for you. We'll wrap this baby up.
It's simply my mantra, and I turn it into brand simply because it's just what I stand for. I've fought for freedom. I have friends who have died for freedom. Friends who are very close to me that have died for freedom, to fight for freedom. Freedom is not it's not some silly thing to me. It's everything. And I know this, society puts us into a system, and we feel like sometimes we're under the control of others. We're not. We're not. We're sovereign beings. We're capable of living a free life. We're capable of doing and enjoying the things that we want to enjoy in this life, and spending it with the people who we care about and love, and experiencing this big world. God created this big playground. Keith Smith said that, this big playground for us to go play on. So few people experience it, and I want to experience it all. I don't want to be laying on my deathbed, 30 years from now saying, or hopefully longer than that. But, I don't want to be one day looking back at my life saying, I regret not trying this. I regret not doing this. I regret not, what most people regret is living for other people's approval. What most people regret is not taking chances, not doing things, not experiencing more, not spending more time with people they cared about. But we're so influenced to conform to the masses. We're pushed into this, most people just want to blend in. And people that spend their entire life worrying about what everyone thinks about them, trying to blend in, when they die, nobody remembers them anyway, because they never did anything they never stood out, they never tried things, they never went for anything. And that's going to be the regret. So living free is everything to me. And that's why I preach it, because I think everyone should strive to live a life of freedom. And it's important to me. So,
man, that is so strong, brother. That's why I wear this shirt, man. That's why I wear this shirt.
Wear it proud, brother.
Stand for, baby.
Good on you.
I appreciate that. It does look good.
And I don't see that as my brand. I see it as a brand for all of us. It's not
baby.
Me. It's our brand. As entrepreneurs, people out there wanting to make a positive difference and inspire others to live a free life. That's how I see it.
We are so blessed to live in this country, to be able to talk about this, to do what we do, to be able to have all the opportunities. And so many times people take it just for granted. And sometimes you just got to go back, just like you're talking about. You fought for freedom. You friends that have died for our freedom, and just understand how blessed we truly, truly are. All right, last question, and I'm wrapping this up, buddy. Okay.
This guy right here, bro. I'll give him a shout out right now, right there on the end. His name was John Hennon. John Hammer. We call him the Hammer. He was our sniper. That's me standing next to him right there. He got killed. He got killed.
Call him the
He's
Hammer?
a good dude. The Hammer, man. That was
He's a sniper?
Yeah, he's our sniper.
Man.
He was a good dude.
See,
His
that's
sister is
intense,
actually lives
Justin.
across the street from him.
That's intense, Justin. It's part of your story. It's part of who you become and how you lead and how you help. And even for somebody like you that's been through it over the years, as time goes, you probably sometimes put that maybe on the back burner, and you maybe not think it's as important or significant as it really is, because it's molded you into the kind of person you are, and how you can share that experience with the adversities that you've overcome to build what you've built. So don't ever underestimate that, Justin, and make sure you always recognize how important that part of your life is and the sacrifice you made for all these other people that experienced the freedom. So I want to thank you once again for that. So wrapping this up, buddy, you got business, you got family, you're a realtor, you're building a network marketing business, you've got a huge team, you're into health and fitness, you're into personal growth. What can you tell a person to help them get it all together, to do all of these things? How do you balance it out? Okay. Is it just busting your tail and squeezing everything you can out of life? What would you tell a person? And then we're going to wrap this baby up.
I would just say, figure out what's the most important things to you in your life. Who do you want to spend the most time with? Don't get caught up in consuming what the world tries to tell you what's important. What do you think is important? Who do you think is important? And what matters? And then once you start thinking about the things that actually matter in your life, how can you have more of that in your life? And the way to create more time to enjoy the things that are most important to you, you have to create flexibility, time flexibility. And that at the end of the day, there are opportunities to do that. And that's what I did. I sought out those, or attracted those opportunities in my life, because that's really ultimately what I wanted, was a fully autonomous lifestyle. I wanted to live free. And if you figure out what it is that you want, whoever's listening to this, spend the rest of your natural life going after that thing, because if you don't, you will regret it. And understand that there are ways to get there. Find people who have done it already. Find people who are doing it and ask them. Say, hey, how can I do the same thing? Reach out to Bret Green. Reach out to me. If that's what you're looking for, and if it's not what you're looking for, that's okay too. Earl Nightingale says success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Meaning, if you want to be a teacher and you're a teacher, you're successful. It's what you want. Being an entrepreneur is not the only way to be successful. Being in network marketing is not the only way to be cool or have a great life. It's whatever you want to do. And if you are fulfilled and you are content and you're happy living your life, then keep doing it. But if there's more to your life that you want, understand that you can get there, and you can, become the person who is able to attain the things that you're after. God would not put those dreams in your heart if you weren't capable of reaching them. So it's become the person, which we're all capable of doing. And it's, like I said, it's a never ending journey, but become the person who can attract the things into their life that you desire. And I promise you, we're all capable of doing it, because I believe that God wants us to live. John 10:10 says that the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but I come that you may have life, and that more abundantly. God wants us to have an abundant life. So why not go after it? And why not chase every opportunity that can get you closer? And why not follow mentors who've already done it? And why not grow yourself and become a better person? Because personal development is going to impact every aspect of your life, not just business, relationships, your traditional job, everything, every personal encounter you have. Just having a positive outlook on life. It's attractive and it's contagious, and it will make a difference. So I hope that helps.
Golly, my man, you better believe it helped. Brother, that's what I'm saying. We've gone right at an hour. This is what I tell everybody. Okay, yeah, it's an hour, but people will, Netflix binge for hours upon hours upon hours. You go back and listen to what you've talked about today in reference, whether it was vision, whether your health and fitness, commitment, dedication, adversity, facing your fears, getting rid of the opinions of others, just believing in yourself. You take all that value that you offered for people today, and you couldn't even put a price tag on that. But what is this? It's all free. Everything you offered is free. And I want to thank you so much for spending the time today answering these questions. And as I wrap this up, Justin, I just want to say, and you agree with this, I know that, is that you've always got to be the learn-it-all and not the know-it-all. right? You've got to understand that the most important things in life that you learn are after you think that you know it all. And that inner circle that you have, and the inner circle that you create is so very important. And always surround yourself with individuals that are doing things in life, and they're doing them at a different level. Because when you come across a person like a Justin Weeks, right, and you come across somebody who's doing life differently at a different level, they understand the importance of helping other people get to where they are. They know they didn't get there by themselves, so they're more willing to help you. So always understand that important concept. And that's why I love surrounding myself with people just like you. And guys, as we wrap this out, don't ever forget, you are loved and you matter, and you can accomplish all your dreams and goals, because God, like Justin said, didn't plant them in your heart just because they're planted. They're there to fertilize and to flourish within you. So with that, Justin, let's wrap it up. Thank you, my man. You're awesome, buddy. Definitely.
You too, man.
A
You
winning
too, brother.
warrior. Justin
appreciate
Weeks.
you.
All right, my man. We're out. Later.
All right, man. Thanks so much. Later.